Anuj. Okay, so let me share. You can see, no?
Yes.
Okay. Om Tvam Hina Pitavaso.
Om Tvam Hina Pitavaso
Tvam Mata Shatakrato Babhuvitha.
Tvam Mata Shatakrato Babhuvitha
Adhate Sumnamimahe.
Adhate Sumnamimahe.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Okay. So, any questions from your side?
Actually, no, I have to go through it properly once more, right? I only did a quick catch up, so I don't have any questions right now.
Okay. Raunak is joining. He had a question, so let him just join up. Raunak, you had a question, right?
Yes.
So share with everyone.
Yeah. So, in our last session, we ended up discussing whether the path of yajna and moksha are linear or not. And you commented that it can be skipped over the path of yajna if we intend to be a path seeking moksha. So, in that respect, I was contemplating and I was thinking of Buddhist tradition where a similar trend of, nirvana path is followed by Buddhist shamans, which is comprised of tapa, meditation, and all. But Buddhist tradition as a society also, keep people devoid of yajna by saying that, okay, this is your only path to seek the nirvana. While contemplating, I realized that how important Rishi Angira's message in this Upanishad, which looks like to me that the path of yajna is important for the large part of the society, because most of the people may not be interested in seeking moksha, or they have not yet realized the importance of moksha path. So at least for them this sukrit marg is very important, and those who are not performing this sukrit marg are actually doing something very bad with themselves. And those who are the seeking moksha path, they should actually realize the consequences of sticking only on this Sukrit mark. So this was my question, if this thinking is right or not, comparing with the Buddhist tradition, because we see most of the Buddhist society failed, or those people are bearing the consequences of that. Only skipping that is the only route. So yeah.
I am not very sure about this Buddhist tradition, but otherwise, what you are saying is the real thing, that there are these two margas which are there. One is the marg of Priya, and one is the marg of Shreya.
Yeah.
As Katha informs us. Prayer is what is pleasant. So all the normal worldly sukhas are on the prayer mark, and the other is the Shreya mark, which has otherworldly uh, bliss, and that is the mark which is so very different from this worldly mark, and where this yajnas and all also do not reach. So that part is correct. Buddhist tradition, I'm not very sure. Yeah, they do not perform yajnas, that is right. But on the other hand, your original thing, what you started with, they uh, actually take boys at an early age and put them in the
Yeah.
monastery, so they jump over the other ashramas in between.
Yes.
So they
Yes.
don't need to be part of the grihastha ashram. So similarly, in our tradition also, you can directly from brahmacharya, you can move on to sannyas. So that is a possibility. So therefore, you need not go through the period of grihastha ashram during which you have to perform yajnas.
But at the same time, just like Raunakji pointed out, I appreciate the point. The four vargas where we go through the stages, and it is heavily mandated that after the next generation has taken over the grihastha responsibilities, because it says in Shastra that grihastha is very important because it is the trunk on which the entire societal tree stands. And if that is not followed by bulk of the people, the society breaks down. I think the same point was made by Raunak.
Yeah.
There should be options for different people with different mentality to enter the moksha path at different times without
Correct.
ruling out that anywhere.
No, no, not at all, not at all. So in fact, the moksha path will be taken by some 0.0000001% of the population, because that is always a path which very few people select.
Basically, the sannyasa varga.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
Even
all of us
Vanaprastha
go
was
through
at a
Aranyaka. Necessarily, Aranyaka is essential for everyone, I feel.
Vanaprastha, you mean?
Vanaprastha, sorry, Vanaprastha.
Yeah, Vanaprastha also not necessary. Even the Vedas themselves say that enjoy life as grandfathers and grandmothers playing with your children and so on. So actually, Brahmacharya and Grihastha ashram is what is you can call something which most worldly people go through. But whether they will even start thinking of spirituality and move into Vanaprastha, even that is questionable. And then to move on from um, thinking of spirituality and gaining some level of expertise on to sannyas ashram where you give up completely everything, that is an even larger step.
Okay. But I would identify myself with somewhere between Grihastha Ashrama as necessary to sustain the rest of the family, and Vanaprastha because sannyasa is something very difficult.
Yeah, I also identify myself that way. But I hope we are there. Anyway, so now I come to the homework. So I had asked you that first Mundak, second Khand, uh, 12 and 13. Sorry, not 12 and 13.
10 and 11.
10 and 11. You have to tell me what are the equivalent Prashnopanishad verses. So Srividya had identified something, so she has to tell us.
Yeah.
Srividya, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. So I thought that in the fifth Mundak, fifth Prashnopanishad, where the question was on moksha prapti, I think that was the question. Then there was this discussion on the Omkara, the meditating on the Omkara.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in that the fourth and the fifth verses, okay, the third verse actually spoke about meditating on ek matra and achieving worldly success. And the fourth one spoke about meditating on two matras and achieving the Chandralok, basically, where you go and you spend time based on the good deeds and whatever you've done, and then you come back again to the Bhuloka. And the fifth one, which is, on all three matras, meditating on everything, like you're completely in it, there you are supposed to be going to the, the sun, basically, and where you'll never have to come back. It's like almost a recipe for moksha.
So you are partially correct, but there are a couple of verses.
There is one more
In
verse,
first chapter.
in first chapter, 10th verse.
10th verse. Response to which one?
Uttarena tapsa brahmacharya.
Yeah. The first chapter has
Correct.
Chandrayaan and the Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. When he is speaking about the Uttarayan and
Yes.
Dakshinayan,
Yes, yes.
There he speaks about how those who are learned and who have realized the Brahman take the Uttarayan, and who do the Ishta and Apurti, they go to the Chandrayanam and then come back onto earth. So the interesting thing that I found, which probably both the Maharshis are saying the same thing, if you refer to the Mundak here, I actually the sixth Mundak in the second chapter.
Hmm.
There he says, Suryasya Rashmibhiri Yajamanam Vahanti. Then he says, Yeshavaha Punyah Sukruto Brahmalokaha. So
Hmm.
here, when he says Brahmalokaha, I think what Angira is trying to say is in the Brahma, whenever he is referring to Brahma, he is talking about the universe that is existing, like the Srishti, right? That is what we have referred to also in the first chapter of Mundak. So probably that is what he is trying to say. When you do these yajna and all that, the punyas will take you wherever, but then bring you back to this loka. Is probably that was what I understood with the Brahma Lokaha reference here. Punya Sukruto, Yeshavaha Punya Sukruto Brahma Lokaha. Maybe Rishi is trying to
Actually,
say.
that's not 100% correct, because if you see the previous verse, he says, Yatra Devanam Patireko Dhivasaha. So again, he is talking of a place where the soul is closer to God. Okay. So while it is not the place where which you achieve on moksha, it is a place which is little distant from earth, or and such similar lokas where beings can survive. So that Brahma Loka is not really Brahmand, but it is your Swarga Loka.
Yeah,
Understand?
that's what I'm trying to say. When he says Brahmaloka here,
Hmm.
it is not the Parabrahmaloka. That is not what he is
Correct.
referring to, is what I'm
Correct.
saying.
Correct.
Because whenever Angira used Brahma, that is, he's talking about the things that Paramatma has created rather than the Parabrahma himself. I think that's
So
what we've
far.
discussed in the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
chapter.
that Brahma may be referring to God. I think so, because in that Sukrita Lok, you should be enjoying other worldly pleasures rather than worldly bhogas. It
Mm-hmm.
may be worldly bhogas too, in which case you may be right. Difficult to pass judgment on this with the given information.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, and 10th one, Ronak, you want to take? This was the 9th one, which corresponded with the 10th verse of Mundak. And the 10th one corresponds to the 11th
11th
verse.
verse, Mundak, yeah.
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 So in that
So you want to take it up?
Yeah, in that 10th one, Rishi says that those who take austerity, that is tapa and brahmacharya and shraddha, and practice the vidya knowledge, they go to the Aditya Loka, which is quite equal to the what Angira Rishi says कि
Very
uh,
low.
सूर्य लोक में जाते हैं. So that is the equivalent part. And from that location, soul do not come back. That's again the same thing that Angira Rishi says, that that is a kind of a moksha state where you do not have to come back for the birth. So yeah,
Correct.
the
Correct.
similarity.
So the only thing which I can bring out over here is brahmacharya and your vidya is the additional thing which is being given in Prashnopanishad. But that is something which is kind of included in tapa and shraddha, because you in tapa brahmacharya is kind of included, and in shraddha you have to have shraddha on something which you have figured out, which you understand. So you take the leap and agree with some other things as well, which you may not have yet internalized or seen directly, witnessed. So other than that, they are matching almost word to word. So that again shows us how all the sages of some people seem to say that there is contradiction among texts, but that has happened only in the Middle Ages. But in the ancient texts, if you see, then all of them speak in one voice about about all these issues.
I think the Brahmalok that is mentioned in Prashna Upanishad is equivalent to like moon, which is Angira Rishi says that from where the soul have to return back.
The other way around, the moon of Prashna Upanishad is equal to Brahmalok of Angira.
Acha. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Then, so now let me ask you one more question. How do we attain Brahma then? How do we attain Akshara, Pada?
Dhyana is what is mentioned.
Yes. So, Dhyan is most important. Upasana is what is the path. So, it is kind of a path of inaction rather than action. So that is the path which one has to take. All worldly things require some or the other action to be performed, while this is the path of inaction. Okay, let us move to the 12th verse then. Pariksha lokan
Pariksha
Lokan
karmachitan brahmano
Karmachitan Brahmano
nirvedamayat
Nirvedamayat
nastya kritah kritena
Astyakritah Kritena
tadvijnanartham sa
Tadvijnanartam sa
गुरुमेवाभिगच्छेत्
Gurumevabhigachet
समित्पाणिः
Samitpanihi
श्रोत्रियं ब्रह्मनिष्ठम्.
Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam.
Okay, so now he takes you to the next step, how you should proceed on the path of Paravidya. So till Yajna and so Ishta and Apurt karmas, you were in Apara Vidya. Now we are moving to Paravidya. So how to obtain Paravidya? As I have told you earlier, he is like in Prashna. Excuse me, sorry. He has not even considered people below that. As Raunak was also mentioning, worldly people who are below that category, who have not studied the Vedas, who do not know how to perform yajnas, they are not even considered. And only those who are performing these good deeds, they are being compared with people who are sorry, I don't know what has happened. They are being compared with people who are looking for moksha. So here now he says that a Brahman. So Brahman doesn't mean the Brahman jati what we call today, but anybody who is in search of Brahma is called a Brahman. Brahman also means one who has studied Brahma, that is the Vedas, and the one who moves in Brahma. And because he has studied the Vedas, therefore he is always thinking of Brahma. That is why he is called Brahman. So a Brahman should look at all the lokas which karmas can achieve, which worldly deeds can achieve. So lokas, as I told you, it should not be understood as Swargalok or Dyulok or Bhulok or whatever. It is to be understood as bodies, the habitation which soul takes up. So from this shloka, it becomes really clear. He says that he looks at the births which the soul can achieve through the various karmas which he can perform in this world. Looking at those, he sees the highest birth that he can achieve, which is that of a human and preferably a person who is inclined towards sacred duties. he looks at all that, and then he feels very disappointed, and he becomes virakt. He becomes a renunciate. He feels that all this is meaningless. Nirvedam ayat. He achieves renunciation. Asti akritah, na asti akritah kriten. This is actually a very beautiful phrase, and it is in very, very idiomatic Sanskrit, which, if you take literally, then it says that which is not done cannot be achieved, is not achieved by something which is done. So, in this very cryptic format, what is enclosed is that whatever is done is actually created in this world. Okay, so you perform deeds in this world on matter. So that which is beyond that, akritaha, which was never made, which is without a beginning, without an end, anadi anant, and which cannot be made, that is God. He cannot be achieved by any deed. Okay, so that is why yajnas are fall short when you are looking for God.
So that's why, interestingly, you when you were explaining dhyana, you called it non-deed, which was interesting. I never looked at it like that. For us, because we practice it with our effort, we also look at it as another higher deed. But no, call it non-deed. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, correct. That is actually in Yoga Darshan we studied, no? Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So, Chitta Vritti, you have to shut down your mind. So, you already shut down your body and your senses. And the last sense which remains, which is your buddhi, that also you have to bring to closure. And that is the level of inaction which you have to achieve to be able to see yourself and then God.
So this Atma entity is a zero energy entity to be reached.
Okay, tad vijnanartham sa gurum eva abhigachet. So to know that akritaha, to understand in a very deep way, vijnana. So to understand that akritaha, he should look for a guru. He should go to a guru. Samit Panihi, taking this firewood in his hands. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. What kind of guru should he look for? A guru who knows the Vedas, Shruti, and who is Brahmanishta, who is himself established in Brahma.
This
So,
is the introduction, the contradiction that comes back again. See, Samit, worldly karma. Shrotriya, worldly karma. Brahmanishta, worldly karmin. Technically, okay, not
no,
exactly.
Shruti, don't equate it to worldly karmas, because Shruti is also knowledge, including spiritual knowledge. So
It
Vedas
is both. It is both. Yeah.
both, yeah. So to achieve the highest Brahma knowledge, you have to know the Vedas. What you are reading in this Upanishad is but a part of what is given in the Vedas. So do not neglect the Vedas as only something which gives you karma kand. That is a very wrong idea about the Vedas. But Samit Pani, yes, to some extent you're right. But also, I must tell you that while the sannyasi was absolved of performing yajnas, uh, up to Vanaprasth, you are supposed to be performing yajnas. So, your guru even can be up to Vanaprasth, because even though the person is in Vanaprasth, now you start approaching Brahma. But yes, yeah, sure, typically here at this point, when you are really, now you have covered a lot of bases and made a lot of movement, then you are talking of the guru who is really established in Brahma, who's a sannyasi, and you approach that guru. One more thing could be that, sannyasis typically they move solitarily. They may not even accept shishyas. So shishyas are accepted only up to the point that the guru has an ashram, And here also, for example, Angira may be having an ashram where Shaunak has approached him. So that again comes to, somewhere in between your vanprastha and sannyas. So whatever it is, the guru has to be somebody who has seen Brahma at some time and is involved in performing the duties which Brahma has told, and is performing upasana, etc. Okay, so this is the path which Angira has said, that the person who wants to know the path of moksha or paravidya can be achieved through direct um, knowledge transmission through a guru. However, as I told you last time, again, when we don't have such a situation, we don't have such a guru, then we should not give up hope. God only appears before us as that guru and takes us forward when the icha in us is strong. Because in today's times, we don't find too many of such gurus. Okay, shall I proceed? Move to the next one.
Yes.
Tasmai savidvan
Tasmai
Tasmai
savidvan
savidvan
upasannaya samyak
upasannaya
upasannaya
samyak
samyak
prashanta chittaya
prashanta
prashanta
chittaya
chittaya
shamanvitaya
shamanvitaya
yenaksharam purusham
येनाक्षरं
येनाक्षरं
पुरुषं
पुरुषं
veda satyam
वेद
वेद सत्यं
सत्यं
provaच tam
प्रोवाच
प्रोवाच
तां
तां
tattvato brahma vidyam.
तत्त्वतो
तत्त्वतो ब्रह्मविद्याम्.
ब्रह्मविद्याम्.
Okay, so now Angira speaks about the guru. What should the guru do when such a shishya comes to him? First, he defines actually also the shishya, that this shishya, when the guru sees that this shishya is prashanta chitta, who is tranquil in mind, who is serene in mind, and shamanvita, that means he has gained control over his senses. Such a person, when he comes to such a guru, then that vidwan, that person who is so learned, he should upasannaya, by the way, upasanna is when such a shishya who has come close to him, then to such a shishya he should uh, samyak provacha tam tatvatah brahma vidyam. To him he should tell properly and factually brahma vidya. He should communicate to him. Yena aksharam purusham satyam veda, by which that akshara purush, who is the ultimate truth, is known, by which this student can come to know that akshar purush, that guru should also make special effort to teach that student that. It is also part of his duty to make sure that he communicates that knowledge to the best of his ability to this shishya who has come to him with such hope. And after having performed such tapa, because to have reached this state, you would have gone through a whole lot of tapa yourself. And then, in fact, uh, God also gives us such a guru, who will take us one step forward. Okay, so tasmai sa vidwan upasannaya samyak provacha. Samyak connects with provacha, and upasannaya prashanta chittaya shamanvitaya tasmai sa vidwan तत्वतो ताम ब्रह्म विद्याम प्रोवाच येन अक्षरम पुरुषम सत्यम वेद. This using this word satya for Paramatma is also something which you will find in Upanishads. He is the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth, and a reality which we don't come to know till quite a bit of journey has been covered. So that is why he's very often called Satya in Upanishads. Okay.
Here, Veda must be the late of Veti or something like that, as we use in Loka.
Yeah, with Dhatu, and Ved is Lota, I think, by which he comes to know.
Oh, lot. Tvam Veda.
Yeah. No, not from Veda. By which he will come to know Aksharam Purusham Satyam.
Veti is the normal form in Lat. Veti.
Yes, Lat Pratham Purush Ek Vachana is that form. Correct. And from which Ved, as in the Sanhitas, that word has come. Okay.
So I have a question. So is he saying here that the guru should be able to identify whether the student has reached that level of control of senses and tranquility in order for that person to be able to understand what he's going to tell him regarding achieving Paramatma?
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no point in imparting it. Is that
Yes.
what it is?
Exactly. So these are the entry criteria for the student. So that is why so many times you find in the Upanishads the stories are there of the guru saying, okay, you stay in the ashrama, and the student sometimes stays for 1 year, sometimes 5 years, 10 years. Then only the guru decides that okay, now I am happy with the effort put in by the student. Now I shall impart this ultimate knowledge. So your normal knowledge of how to perform yajnas and all, and even knowledge of the Vedas will be imparted. So you saw that the Vedas were included in Aparavidya. So that may be given by the Guru. But the knowledge of how to seek Brahma, that will be reserved for the student who has ultimate control, who has renunciated the world completely, who so that is actually included, by the way, in this prashant chit as well. You cannot have a prashant chit till the time that you have given up the world, because till you are in the world, you are acquiring things, you are protecting things, you are maintaining them. And so when you lose them also, you have an anxiety. You have an anxiety for acquiring them, for protecting them, and for losing them. All those anxieties play on you, and so you have an anxious mind. But the day that you give up everything, you are free in that regard. Now you are free to search for God with a single mindedness, which you cannot have till the time that you are a worldly person. That is why it is said prashant, vishesh roop se shant. That person has to be absolutely serene as far as the worldly existence is concerned. And
Nachiketa qualifies in complete sense because he waits for 3 days.
correct.
Even in Prashnopanishad also, I think Rishi asks them to stay in the ashram for 1 year, and then he
Yes.
starts the question
Correct.
answer session, right? So
Correct. And even if you read Brihadaranyak, or is it Chandogya? I get confused between the two. In that, there is the Katha of Indra and Virochan. And those two approach Prajapati, who is a learned seer. And then they stay in that, Indra stays in that ashram for 108 years.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So now we move on. This completes the Pratham Mundak and both the khandas, and we now move to the Dvitiya Mundak, Pratham Khand. So the verse goes: Tadetat satyam yatha sutiptat
Tadetat satyam
Satyam
yatha
yatha
sudiptat
sudiptat
pavakat vispullingaah
pavakat
pavakat
vispullingaah
vispullingaah
sahasrashah prabhavante sarupaah
sahasrashah prabhavante
prabhavante
sarupaah
sarupaah
तथाक्षरात् विविधाः
तदाक्षरात् विविधाः
भावाः
सौम्य भावाः
प्रजायन्ते तत्र
प्रजायन्ते तत्र
तत्र
चैवापि यन्ति
चैवापि यन्ति
यन्ति
tadetat satya. That this satya, which satya? Again, commentators have we came across this kind of a phrase in the beginning of the previous khand also, and they just said this is the truth, but that is not correct. Again, satya is referring to the previous words where Paramatma was called satya. So now Angira starts talking of that Paramatma, and in a way you are his student now, and he is giving you this Brahma Vidya, this Paravidya, and he is telling you about this Paramatma. So this Khand is dedicated to telling you what all Paramatma does and how you should see him. So he says that Satya, which I told you in the last verse, is like the fire, Pavaka, which is well lit, Sudipta. From that fire, Vispullinga, that is Chingarya, that is sparks, which fly out from that fire in the thousands. And these are similar looking sparks, Sarupaha. In the same fashion, Tatha, Aksharat, from that immutable God, He Somya, He, oh dear Shonak, Vividhaha Bhavaha Prajayante. This variety of forms which you see in this universe, all these are created. Tatra cha eva apiyanti. And also in him, they go back. Okay, so this may appear to you as if this is the Upadan Karan that we are talking about, that it is from God, God himself shapes himself into all these other things. But even in the Upama, you can see that it is not fire which is present in the sparks. The sparks are made of a different material, and the spark is only energizing. The fire is only energizing that wood or coal or whatever it is that you are burning, your indhan, your fuel, and it has converted into this spark. And Sarupa, because Prakriti is made of Sattva, Raja, and Tama gunas, so all the forms of Prakriti have these three in them in different proportions, and that is why you have the different forms, but they are sarup in the sense that they carry these three gunas in them. So all these are created by him as the nimitta karan, and in the end, that is at the time of pralay, they return to him.
So the Sarupya here is not the Sarupya between the Satya and the Vispullinga or the Bhavas, but Sarupya of the various Bhavas. Is it, or how do you want to take?
Sarupaha vispullinga. So the various forms which are created, they are sarupa. Satya
Basically,
is
not
like,
distinguishing between low life, high life, things like that. That kind of Sarupya.
no, sagunatvam. So the gunas are the same between them, and that is the sarupata between them.
Okay.
The God is being connected to Agni. So,
I was only thinking because Vispulinga has a temporary Agni life as a Vispulinga with a death very soon. It's kind of proper. So I was wondering whether the Atma is being referred in the little fire that exists in the Vispulinga.
no. The soul is also eternal. So soul is also not created by God. So while you can say the beings are created by God, which we shall be seeing in fact as we proceed, but not the soul.
Fair enough.
This verse is equivalent to like that comes in Gita Vishwarupa verse, right?
Vishwarupa now will start. This
Okay.
one is just telling you that God has created this universe just like this Agni creates these sparks. So also God has created this universe by providing, you can say, the energy. for it to get started. And once the process of creation starts, then he has to, in between, he has to tinker here and there a little bit based on the deeds that we perform. But otherwise, it kind of goes into auto mode. Okay. Shall we proceed?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Divyo hyamurtah purushah
Divyo hyamurtah purushah
sabhahyabhyantaro hyajah
sabhahyabhyantaro hyajah
aprano hyamanah shubhro
aprano hyamanah shubhro
yaksharat paratah parah.
yaksharat paratah parah.
Here, for some of those, some of you who are following this book, there is a mistake which is there. Sabhaya Bhyantaro is connected, shown connected, but there should be a gap. Sa is a separate word and Bhaya Bhyantaro Taro is a separate word. So he says that this Purusha again, because he lies down, Shayanam, in this Puri, that is the Brahman, that is why he is Purusha. This Purusha is Divya, he is divine, has some fantastic qualities, properties. He Amurtaha, he is without a form. He does not have any murti, any shape, any idol. No idol can do any justice to him. It is meaningless to have an idol to depict him. Sa Bahya Abhyantara. He is outside of everything and he is inside everything. He Ajaha, and also definitely he for surely he is unborn. As I told you, he's Anadi and he's Anant, just like the individual soul as well. But we are describing God at this point. Apranaha, he has no prana. Amanaha, he has no mind. Shubhraha, he is pure and radiant. He aksharat parataha paraha, and he is very far, very much above the akshara which is also itself beyond. That is what? Guess which is that akshara which is beyond. And beyond what?
Beyond description, is that what he means?
No, this you are talking in terms of capacity, I should think, should say, it is. So the soul which is itself akshara and which is beyond matter, because it has consciousness in it, which is such a huge property which is above matter, and so distinguishes it from matter. So from that akshara which is itself para, he is beyond that soul too. That is why we call it Paramatman, while the soul we call Jivatman. And so also we are distinguishing over here a prana. While the soul itself does not have a prana, the individual soul, but it acquires a prana when it acquires a body. So at that time you will have to say it is saprana. And it also becomes samana. But God never acquires prana, he never acquires mana, he is always aja. While the soul takes birth by connecting with matter, God never connects with matter. There is no avatar. There is no avatar Vad which is there in the Upanishads and in the very ancient texts. It is only in the later years that you will find this avatar Vad making an entry. In Ramayana you will not find it. In Mahabharata you will not find it. Some 2000 to 3000 years when we had the Middle Ages, during which time the Puranas came, the Puranas really murkied all the waters in under the garb of saying that we are giving the a very easy commentary on the Vedas. We are making the Vedas accessible to the common person. but they actually distorted the whole picture, and they brought in things by which they could fulfill their own worldly desires. Otherwise, to have Parvati sitting on the thigh of Shiva and such other pictures, these are, if you think about it, and pineal worship and so on, they're very disgusting facts of Hinduism. We forget about this sometimes, but we should uh, think of it now and then, and that will really put everything in the proper perspective, where these Upanishads are and where we are today. And so, therefore, please separate yourself from the masses and go with the Upanishad cars.
We can do both, Bhagini. We'll accept you are different to you, but we will do both.
No, it's not possible to have one leg in one boat and one leg in the other.
No, very much
You have to
possible.
make a
Just like
choice.
we are doing Grihastha-ashrama and Vanaprastha-ashrama, why not this?
No. I will not agree with you there. However, so let us proceed. Any question here? No. Okay. In any case, path of falsity always leads to some sorrow or the other. So you must remember that as well. Ekasmat jayate prano
एतस्मात् जायते प्राणो
manah sarvendriyani cha
मनः सर्वेन्द्रियाणि च
सर्वेन्द्रियाणि
ham vayur jyotirapah
खं वायुर्ज्योतिरापः
वायुर्ज्योतिरापः
prithvi vishwasya dharini.
पृथिवी
पृथिवी
विश्वस्य
विश्वस्य
धारिणी.
धरिणी.
Shankya.
Sankhya, yes. So in the first khand of the first Mundak, we had started straight away from Anna. Now it is as if Angira has gone back a few steps, and he's telling you the creation of this universe from God. So Eta Smat is that Akshar only. So from that Akshar are born Prana, Mana, all the Indriyas, Kham, that is Akash, Vayu, Jyoti, Apah, that is Jala, and Prithvi, that is Earth, which holds everything. Vishwasya Dharini uh, holds everything means all living things. So you cannot have living things without Earth being present. While you do have living things which exist in the air and which exist in water, but it is Prithvi. Some even below the ocean, you need to have some dhril substance which is there, some solid stuff. Then only even the oceans can carry life.
Again, he has very nicely gone from subtle to the physical. Prana is the first, and then slowly he moves to actual Vishwa.
Yes, to some extent. So, uh, prana, mana, indriya, if we follow the Sankhya thing, as you're saying, then we might have to equate prana to buddhi. But probably prana is not buddhi, and prana comes somewhere um, uh, just before karmendriyas. Okay, so you have in Sankhya, you start with the primordial matter, which is Prakriti, move on to Buddhi or Mahat, and then you have Ahankar, which further gives rise to Mana and the Indriyas. So, some that Mana we can probably equate over here to that Mana itself, and the Indriya here are obviously the Jnani Indriyas, and Karmi Indriyas are coming from Prana. So prana is the one which activates the body. So therefore, karma indriyas are also linked directly to prana. But as I have told you before, we do not understand prana very well right now. So,
Uh,
but at least prana, I don't think should be equated to mahat. So to that extent, prana I will take out from that order of things. What you are saying, rest is yes, as per the Sankhya order.
Ma'am, यहाँ पे when we can think of, because here Brahma is basically a Nimitta Karan, which Ishwar is a Nimitta Karan is being propagated.
Yes,
So
yes.
Pran can be taken as his primary force, which creates movement in the universe, start the universe movement?
No. Etasma jayate prana. From him, prana is born. And
Yeah.
then he is talking of space, etc.
So
So,
from him, the force will come that will move the basically matters. That there's a mantra also which we recite in Sandhya also, right? Uh, this is sorry, I'm not able to recall. But after
what does it say?
varieties,
What does the mantra say?
that mantra says that the movement comes in the Prakriti and then it
That thing. Yes, that is the movement which he
Samvatsaro.
creates in matter. No, that is not prana. That is not prana. No.
Okay.
Yeah, this prana is talking of the prana of the living things, the thing which creates life in living things, the life force.
Okay.
This book also talks of life or born life, mind, and senses. Correct, life force.
I didn't get you, Anuj.
No. In this book that you had shared, PDF also, it refers to prana as life force only.
Yes, it is life force. Prana is never taken for action per se. It is always life force, but it could be either subtle life force or prana vayu, in which case it is vayu, the breath.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question is there?
No.
All right. Agnir Murdha Chakshushi
Agnirmurdha chakshushi
Chandra Surya
chandra suryo
Dishah Shrotre Vag
Dishaha
dishaha shrotre vag
Vivritascha Vedah
vivrutascha vedaha
Vayuh Prano
vayuh prano
Hridayam Vishwamasya
hridayam vishwamasya
Adhyam Prithivi
padbyam prithvi
Yesha Sarvabhutantaratma.
kyesha sarvabhutantarat.
So now that Vishwarupa comes into play. So, in a way, Angira is telling you how can you visualize this God because he has no form, and so you don't know how to visualize him. So you can understand him in this way. So just take it as a symbol. Don't take it as something which is accurate. So he says Agnir Murtha. Agni is his forehead. Chakshushi Chandra Suryo. His eyes are the sun and the moon. Dishaha Shrotre. And space or these directions are like his ears. I will just tell you a little bit more on these connections between these objects. Then Vag Vivritaha cha Vedaha and his speech are these extended Vedas, these elaborate Vedas are his speech. Vayuhu Pranaha, this air which is flowing, that is like his prana. So you can see here prana is being equated to the gross Vayu. Hridayam Vishwam Asya, and everything is like his heart. Padbhyam Prithvi, from his legs, this Prithvi has originated. Eshaha Sarva Bhutantaratma, he is the Antaratma, the thing that exists inside all the bhutas, everything which is born or created. So, all inanimate and animate matter has God inside it. Okay, so let us go into the details. Agni Murdha. So here Agni actually you should not see as the Bhautik Agni. This Agni is actually talking of radiation, electromagnetic radiation and energy of all kinds is this Agni. So that primordial energy, maybe something like what Ronak was talking about, that God uses to stir up this Prakriti, but that actually Prakriti is still stirring it up. Prakriti is yet to wake up as Agni. So that energy is like his forehead. It is uh, like holding the power behind it, the power of the mind. So that is why vaguely it is connected to Mudha, or it is the topmost thing, the subtlest form. Then Chakshushi Chandra Surya, because the moon and the sun are the nimitta karan for your, for making everything visible, for your vision. So that is why they have been treated as uh, his eyes. If you note over here, there is a very subtle thing which happens while in the beginning these things are being equated, that his eyes are this and his forehead is this. Then in the last line he says Padpyam Prithvi, from his legs Prithvi is created. So that is also to show you that this is a symbolic thing which is being told. There is no factual data which is being given to you. It is just something to help you visualize it. So for example, in the Vedas it is said that from is chakshu, this surya is created. Okay, so it could very well be read even that way, or you could say his chakshu itself are the sun and the moon. Okay, basically they are not this not his eyes, and he does not have eyes, so there is no question of anything coming out of his eyes. This is just a symbolic thing, because your eyes perceive things thanks to the light which is coming from the sun and the moon. That is why the two are linked, and that linkage is being revealed in this verse. Dishaha Shrotre. Similarly, the ears are responsible for telling you where in space a sound has been generated. And even the semicircular canals give you a sense of balance, which tell you where in space your head is, whether you are this way, that way, backwards. All that information is told to you by your ear. So the ear is the one which tells you about the location in space and also vibrations in space. Then Vag Vivritaha Vedaha, and his Vani is that of the Vedas. So see, a number of us have problems in accepting the fact that Vedas are revealed by our God's words, and they are only revealed scriptures. But you will find again and again all these sages say that the Vedas are directly from God. They are the word of God. How many of you believe that Vedas are not the word of God? Be honest. This is a class for honesty.
No, 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 no. When we try to compose even one verse, we quickly realize it is very godly.
Yes, that is true. Even when you try to understand it, it is difficult. Forget about composing it. So that is the Vedas are his speech, and Vayu. So this is the, a huge image that you should have of God. Image, if I can put in quotes, that when you feel the Vayu on your skin, you should feel, oh, this is God's breath. So you see God everywhere. Don't see him in a tuch, I would say, stone statue. That is
I
not what.
wouldn't say tucha, I would say limited. That's all.
No, very tuch, very, very
Please, please,
limited.
please, please be kind to us.
No, no, I have to also remove your ignorance, Anuj. That is also part of my duty. So you must see the universe as him. When you see the universe as him, will you begin to see a bit of him? So his pran itself is this Vayu, and Hriday. Hriday can mean actually two things. One is your heart, and the other is um, the brain. Okay, so the heart, it sends blood everywhere and makes the whole body function. Similarly, the brain sends nervous electrical stimuli into your whole body, and so makes your whole body also sensory. So in both respects, this whole universe is energized and activated by him. Padbhyam Prithvi. And just like feet provide us with stability, the whole body becomes stable because of the feet. Similarly, Prithvi provides stability to existence. And of course, he is Bahya and Abhyantar, that is, he is found both inside the beings and also outside, because he is the ultimate subtle substance. Okay, so this is the end of time, but if you have questions, we can still consider those.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
In the last class, we were discussing about Nishkam Karma. So I was going through Ishopnishad and Yajurveda mantra, first two mantra basically. So in the second mantra where it says Kurvanna vehe karmani jiji visheshitam sama evatai nanyathavasti na karma lipyate nare. So here the mantra says ki this is the only way through which you will not be get involved into the karma. So this indicates that it's a kind of a nishkam karma basically. So this indicates that this is possible for someone who is not attained moksha, or should we think that this mantra is for the one who has attained moksha or like Jivan Mukt?
So, what has that mantra said? What kind of karma should you do by which it will not get lipped on you?
So that goes in the first mantra where he says ki take everything as if it is for God and by God, and nothing is yours. So take everything as something that you owe it to him. So even if you like eating food, you think that it is not for you, it is because of him you are eating, and this body is also due to him. So you owe it everything to him. So
Correct.
yeah.
So that renunciation
Yeah.
is what is important. So when that renunciation has entered into you, then when you do a karma as duty, okay, then to some extent, I would say only to some extent, the reward will not return to you. Otherwise, even when you do a duty, then that reward is involved, because if you don't do the duty, then you know that you will get a bad result of it, right? So
Yeah.
therefore it follows that if you do your duty, then a good result has to follow to you. It cannot be without a result. It cannot be just a not duty gives you punishment, but performing a duty does not give you a reward. That is not possible. That would make it uneven.
Yeah.
So therefore, even that has a reward which is involved. However, it is a good reward. So you can only extend it up till that level. It is not pure nishkam karma.
Okay.
Nishkam karma you should take as a karma without any desire at all. Here also, if nothing else, the minimum desire you have is that I should do my worldly duties, right? So you have not given up your worldly duties, and you are saying that I want to perform all my worldly duties, whatever is ascribed to me, I have to do it. That is your desire. That desire itself is a karma. Anything which is linked to this world is a kamana. Only when you rise above it, if you are looking at knowledge related to it, or if you are desirous of moksha, that is not considered a kamana, and that does not have a consequence associated with it.
So the last words of this verse, this mantra basically, the na karma lipyate nere, it's not indicating nishkam.
It is not indicating nishkam. It's only saying that you will get minimal bad consequence of it. You will get only good consequence.
Okay.
Again, it comes in the continuation of the first verse, right? Where it says, Tena tyaktena bhunjita magrudah kasisvidhanam. So when we get to that level of, maybe realization or understanding that everything that we eat or everything that we consume is Parabrahman's only, in experience, not just by the way of saying it. Probably then when you are doing the karma, it doesn't
No,
you don't
actually,
get connect to
see,
it.
Yoga Darshan and Sankhya Darshan are very clear about when exactly it becomes Nishkam. So, even at here, you are seeing that the person is a renunciate when he has approached the Guru for Brahma Vidya. He is already Prashanta Chitta and he is already Shamanvita. That means he is already become a renunciate, and then only he is looking for Brahma.
In
So
fact, it even says Vidwan there, very interestingly. He's already a Vidwan.
Vidwan is used for the Guru.
No, no, no.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Vidwan
okay.
is used for
Pratama.
this
Okay,
one.
okay.
Yeah, that is used for the Guru. In the previous verse, actually in this verse only, that which is used in Chaturthi Vibhakti, those are the words which are used for the Shishya who has come. So, same thing you will see even in Yoga Darshan, where all the steps are given step by step. There, until you have really seen the soul and differentiated it from matter, Viveka Khyati has set in. Till then, you will not perform deeds which are without a consequence. However good those deeds may be, and however Niswat Bhav may exist in you, as you perceive it and as it may be. But it cannot be fully Niswat.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. The first verse itself, it opens it with Ishavasya Jagat. So when we have that realization, we would have, renunciated everything. That's what I'm trying to say. When
But what I'm
really
trying
we
to tell you
see,
is renunciation is not sufficient.
mm,
Renunciation comes first. So
yeah,
Virakti has to come in you first.
or the realization, I meant to say, when the
Realization
realization,
comes next, which has
yeah.
not occurred in the first two verses of that Ishavasya Upanishad. So realization is what is actually will make it Nishkam Karma.
Correct. The opening statement is that, right? Ishavasya midam jagat itkinchit jagatyam jagat. So when that realization as an experience comes to us, then when we do the karma, then probably that is that you do not connect to it. But till then, whatever the karma that you get involved in, you are connected with the karma phala of that.
I have little doubt in that, because to a person who has realized you don't need to give an advice saying tena tektena bunjita magrida kasya svidhanam,
Okay.
because
Mm.
that a person is
Makes sense.
already beyond that,
Makes
right?
sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that is for a worldly person, and na karma lipyate nare is only saying in a very relative sense. It is not saying in an absolute sense,
Mm.
right? Think over it. Think over it a little more.
Yeah. Yes. So that is the dhyan part that we need to get into.
Yes, actually, in dhyana, the in the beginning stages, you can even take up Vedic mantras and do chintan on that. That leads to great focus. You can really get lost in your chintan of Vedic mantras, because as we are seeing, they have so many meanings and so much depth of meaning is there that you can really get engrossed in it. Okay, so let us say our prayer. ॐ या ते रुद्र शिवा तनूर्
Om Yate Rudra Shivatanu
अघोरा पापकाशिनी
Aghora Papakashini
अयानस्तन्वा शन्तमया
Tayanastanvashantamaya
गिरिशन्ताभिचाकशीः
Girishantabhishakashihi
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति
Om Shanti
Shanti,
Shanti
Shanti,
Shanti.
Shanti.
Namaste.
So I was thinking that even here one Tanu is mentioned and eyes are mentioned of God. So you might think that this is also talking of the body of God. But this again is only a upama which is there just to make you understand that, just to perceive God in some way. Not because God has a body. Okay.
Okay. That's
Okay.
exactly
Dhanyavad.
the point we were making, saying you need a Murtha Bhava to focus upon. So even Vedas are actually using that Upama. So why not us?
Oh, because when you really give a form like Shiva Parvati or
No,
something,
limit, like I said, so limited. That is acceptable.
no, limits are never followed. Okay,
Because
so
our perception is limited. That's the only reason.
that is why we are reaching these limitless boundaries where there is no limit to the number of statues and the number of forms and the number of gods which are there. So never will a limit be there. And also, what I have told you many times before is that you fall in love with that physical form. So you start feeding milk to that form, you start dressing it up, you make nice clothes for it, you sing, you play the flute for it, you dance in front of it. So all the time now you have fallen in love with that form
So
because
then what happens, Bhagini, is if you don't have that Murta form, all your 64 kalas will not get generated. It become meaningless. Sannyasa cannot be the kala of life. There has to be color in life. The 64 kalas described in our Shastras. If we don't have that Murta form to which we obtain that Bhakti, Shraddha, Priya Bhava, etc., why will the singer sing? Why will the dancer dance? It will become Ashlila.
why they were singing and dancing before they made statues of it, and even people who don't believe in statues sing and dance and celebrate. It is not like that.
No, but then you won't make a beautiful temple. You won't carve. What will you carve?
You carve whatever you feel like carving. So you want to make a beautiful hasta shilpa, this thing, go ahead, make a statue. Don't call it God, and don't think you are serving God,
No,
because
we
you are
don't
not.
call it God. We call it
Uh,
manifestation of God in a murti. That's
it's not manifestation of God in a movie. That is ignorance.
Interestingly, ma'am, you remember I shared a bhajan of Guru Nanak, Gagan Mein Thal, which is directly linked to the today's verse that we had.
Correct.
The story goes like this only, that when he was into Odisha, Jagannath temple, he went out of that Aarti procession, and he described this in the similar way, this today's mantra said, ki that this Chand and Tare, these are the eyes and everything in the same way. So yeah, we can listen to that bhajan and
Then you will not fall in love with it. The thing is that you will always be conscious of the fact that you are looking at a grand spectacle, and you are trying to understand God that way. You will never lose sight of that fact. You will never really see the sun and moon as God's eyes. Uh, Only when you are comparing, then you will be aware of the fact that you are comparing. You will never be able to actually make identify it as such. Anyway, let us leave that discussion now. See you in the next class.
thank you. Namaste.
namaste.
Thank you.